Finetwork FIM Junior GP World Championship is back in action after a long winter break. 7 rounds comprise the series in 2023, starting at the iconic Estoril circuit before finishing up at Valencia in November with lots of high adrenaline racing action across 4 classes. The Stock European Championship now with their own class, European Talent Cup, Moto 2 and the Premier class, creating the stars of tomorrow, Junior GP. You won't want to miss a second of the action here today. It's time to go racing in 2023 for Junior GP. There's no better place to kickstart the season than the brilliant Estoril circuit, enriched with so much history, set just 30 minutes outside Lisbon and surrounded by the stunning Estoril hills. Chris Jordan and myself, Liam Hodgins, bring you 6 races today, starting with the European Talent Cup at 11 AM local time, Moto 2 race 1 at 12 PM, Junior GP at 1 PM, and then ETC race 2 coming up at 2 PM. With Moto 2 at 3 and then the Stock European Championship rounding out the action at 4 PM. It's a brilliant place to be to start the year, and Chris, are you looking forward to the season as much as I am?
Oh, absolutely. It's an absolute privilege to be here. It's an absolutely beautiful day too as we look outside the commentary box. Bikes already on track here, and as you can see, the rolling green hills, this historic circuit nestled upon them.
And this is what happened last year for European Talent Cup in 2022. It was reigning champ Max Keeler that crashed out on the opening race. But it was Joel Esteban that took the double victory in the opening weekend, then sharing the spoils with Max Keeler in Valencia. He would end up missing the next 2 races at Jerez, and the action unfolded brilliantly throughout the rest of the season. Dodo Boggio picked up his first 2 race wins of the season, launching him into championship contention and the championship lead before it all came crashing down with 4 non-results. Guido Pini would take his first victory of the season, launching him into championship contention before the Irishman Casey O'Gorman would wrap up his first race win at Aragon. But the season belonged to the Italian Guido Pini as he planted the Christmas tree in the gravel at Valencia, and as Casey O'Gorman took his second victory, it was Guido Pini that wrapped up the title. And there they are, the class of 2023, the European Talent Cup riders. They were there for the class photo yesterday, and you can see Guido Pini, who's running the #1 this year, in the center of the action in the AC Racing team. And Chris, there are many, many riders this year. Too many to pick from, really, that could all challenge for the title.
Yeah, there is a lot of talent out in the field this year. Just as you mentioned it, things you absolutely love to see in motorsport, the #1 emblazoned across the front of a bike, a champion out to defend his crown. Guido Pini is the man to watch, but of course we have Maximo Quiles as well, the 2021 champion. He's going to come back with a vengeance. Dodo Baggio, Brian Uriarte also have some pedigree in this competition, and they will very much be a threat for the throne.
Yes, very much they will be. All race winners, as you mentioned there, Chris. Dodo Boggio, a 2-time winner last season at Jerez, and also Brian Uriarte, who we mustn't forget about. He was a multiple race winner here last year and in the entire 2022 season. Brilliant from the young Spaniard, and we'll be talking plenty about him in the action here today.
Yeah, absolutely, mainly because, Liam, he's starting on pole with a pretty sensational lap through his qualifying. He starts on pole. We've got Hakim Danish then on P2. He topped his qualifying session in Group A, and he also has plenty of pedigree at this circuit. He's picked up a double P2 here last year at Estoril rather, and also one at Jerez. So very much one to watch today. Here we can have a little look at Uriarte and what he had to say from yesterday's pole position.
Pero bueno, pasamos con 4 segundos de antelación, que fueron los justos que nos dieron la pole de hoy. Y bueno, que quiero agradecer a toda la gente que me apoya, a mi equipo, mi familia, mis sponsors. Muchas gracias a todos. Vi unos pilotos que me estorbaron, pero bueno, fue lo suficiente para lograr la pole de hoy, la primera en la Talent, y bueno, estoy muy contento. Creo que desde el principio ya rodamos bastante rápidos y tengo la confianza suficiente como para rodar rápido con rebufo y sin rebufo, o sea que la moto va ideal y el piloto también, o sea que un conjunto excelente. El objetivo es la victoria.
The goal is victory. That's the sound of a very confident rider. Mentioned that a few riders were bothering him during qualifying, but it just wouldn't be the ETC if there wasn't a little bit of close action and contact on circuit. So he starts on pole, his very first pole position, 0 wins, 0 podiums as of yet. 14 years of age, the Spaniard. He'll be looking to end that podium list streak, shall we say, today.
Well, he'll be going from pole position from both races today, and he will be well and truly in the mix throughout the entire race. And we know that he likes to get his elbows out. And there is the #1 emblazoned in front of Guido Pini. There's been a lot of that in motorcycle racing across the many championships in 2023. Almost said 2022 there. And as we said, well, as we see in many of the championships, the #1's actually been bringing a lot of good luck for these champions of last year. Guido Pino will be hoping to take that #1 to glory again this year. And there's Hakim Danish, a very fast young Malaysian rider, 15 years of age. He's been around the circuit quite a long time, has Hakim Danish. Asia Talent Cup champion last year, and well, one of the riders to watch with the Monlau Motul team as well. A very, very prestigious team he's riding for this year.
Yeah, definitely one to watch today. Starting P2, as we mentioned, quite fast in qualifying in trickier conditions. Yesterday was a little bit warmer. They were a little bit slower than the Group B that went a bit later. However, he still came out on top and deserves his place at P2. P3 then, we should be seeing him, a young Finn, Rico Salmela. Here he is now. He's also got some pedigree at this competition. He came P8, finished 8th in the European Talent Cup in 2022 with a double podium here in Estoril. 0 wins, 0 podiums and 0 poles in 2023 so far.
Yes,
that's what the graphic is, just so it doesn't confuse those at home.
Yes,
and he'll be looking to at least knock one of those up a mark.
Yeah, 100%. You can imagine that Rico Salmela, the young Finnish rider, will be hoping to emulate one of his heroes, Finnish heroes, Mika Kallio, who took his first ever Grand Prix victory at the circuit here 18 years ago. So we know that the Finnish riders go extremely well around this circuit. And well, 18 years isn't that much of a difference. He'll remember that. Well, maybe not him, he's too young to remember it, but I'm sure some of his family will be bringing him up to speed, and he'll be hoping to put the first win of his career in the European Talent Cup here today. And then here we go, Pugliese, the young Italian rider. Now he is looking very strong this weekend. The 14-year-old has been very fast throughout practice, very fast throughout qualifying. But then again, we still didn't expect him to see him that far up the grid, Chris.
Yeah, at the end of last year, he began to show signs of a lot of promise. He picked up his first points in the competition at the season finale in Valencia, P14, and P29 overall in the Cup. And yeah, let's see, he's a rider with potential. He could do something here today.
He can indeed. And then there's the next Italian rider on the grid, the #1. It is Guido Pini, taking his first race win at Aragon last year in race #1. And his consistency was what really brought him the championship last year. Only 1 race win, but many, many podiums for the #1. 5 podiums to be exact. And he will be looking to add a lot more race wins, a lot more trophies to his cabinet this year, as he hopes to take that #1 to the very top of the championship once again, and then hopefully go on to even more things in the future of the championship.
Yeah, very much so. Confident rider. He's got the #1, as we mentioned, and I will mention that a couple more times today because I do love to see it. Here's another rider with pedigree, Alberto Ferrandez, the number 93. We all know another Spaniard who has that number.
Yeah, it's a very, very, very iconic number.
And yeah, he's got some pedigree, as I mentioned, in this class. He's picked up a few results in the past before.
And you'll see that he's got a very, very popular and very well-known umbrella person next to him. That is Alonso Lopez.
Very good spot, Liam.
Yes.
I didn't notice that in the shade.
It's like he knew that we were talking about him as he starts laughing away as well. So maybe he's got us on in his commentary ears as well. So yeah, Alonso Lopez with the Finetwork team this weekend taking care of Ferrandez, and he'll be hoping to, well, emulate his left-hand man on the grid there, and will take lots of victories as Alonso Lopez has done in the Moto2 World Championship of last year. Now, a young Australian that we should keep an eye on is a race winner in the Asia Talent Cup. That's Carter Thompson, the 15-year-old. Now, he has been just progressing better and better throughout the weekend. He started off lower down the field throughout the practice, but as qualifying came to its crescendo, he took 7th place on the grid.
Yeah, his best result so far, or in 2022, was a P6 at Aragon. Starting a little bit further back, but he's got an opportunity to go well today. 2 races, fly the Australian flag on top of that podium. It's a possibility.
It really, really is.
The competition is indeed tough.
It's big competition throughout the entire field, as Hamid Al Saouti on the Impala team will be setting off from 8th place on the grid, and he took his best result of the year at the Algarve last year, and well, with an 11th place, he will be hoping to go a lot better here today, and starting from 8th place on the grid is not a bad way to start. And then we've got lots of riders, lots of talent throughout the European Talent Cup grid, and well, Chris, we just can't decide who will come out on top here today.
No, it's very difficult. As we see the number 46 hat there in the distance. A couple little incidents from qualifying yesterday that we must run through as we look at David Gonzalez here on starting from P9, the number 11. But if we look towards the back of the grid, there was a couple unfortunate incidents, big names as well starting
Huge
at the back.
names.
Max Quiles and Dodo Baggio start at the back of the grid for race 1 alongside Guillaume Planck. And why, Liam? Because they were guilty of some slow riding during qualifying. And to add insult to injury for the 2021 champion Quiles, he also has to go through the long lap penalty loop for crashing under yellow flags. It's a big ask to come from the back of a 30-rider strong field, but we have seen it done before.
Yeah, we've seen the greats of like Pedro Acosta, for example, coming from pit lane to win his first ever Moto3 race. We've seen, even more recently, lots of riders come through in the World Championship to take podiums as well. So it can be done. And we know Max Quiles, who has been on fire this weekend, can 100% do that. Now, we must remind everyone that this isn't to be applied to both races. It'll just be race number 1. With race number 2, they will be reverting back to the normal grid positions, and Max Quiles will not have to serve that long lap penalty. But we will keep an eye on them coming from the back of the grid. But one man that has absolutely no issues is the man starting in pole position, Brian Uriarte. So the riders get ready on the grid. The horn has beeped to sound that the mechanics, the team personnel must get off the grid. And it's Brian Uriarte who starts from pole position with a 146.1 ahead of Hakim Danish, 0.6 of a second between the top two, and Rico Salmela going from the outside of the front row.
Yeah, Pugliese, Pini and Fernandez on row 2. While we have Carter, Thompson, Al Sahuti and David Gonzalez, as we saw. Fernandez on 10. Rush Moodley, the South African, starts from 11th, with Pau Alsina in 12th.
We've got Perez in the head of Luciano in 13th and 14th. Further back, we have the likes of Alomar in 19th and Agostini, the 21. And we've got Emmanuel Brinton, who's a little bit further down for the Brit Watch there on the number 43 and 23rd position on row number 8. He's had a struggling qualifying so far this weekend. The British Talent Cup Championship leader. And then there we go, the 3 of the big names, Quiles, Planck, and also Baggio going off the back row of the grid. Now, Chris, we have to bring everyone up to speed. A little bit of housekeeping before we get underway, as we're missing 2 big names. That will be Casey O'Gorman and Johnny Garness. Now, Casey O'Gorman was here this weekend, but he had a big crash in qualifying yesterday, coming out of turn number 9, the chicane, and he has a broken radius, so he'll be out of action this weekend. And we send our wishes, as does everyone in the JuniorGP paddock, to Johnny Garness, who suffered a crash here in testing last weekend, and we hope to see him make a full and speedy recovery and back on the bike very soon.
Yeah, a huge shame to be missing both very, very talented riders here. Just to re-emphasize the good wishes towards the Johnny Garness camp. And we managed to sneak a word in yesterday with the Casey O'Gorman camp. They were thinking about participating today, but as they said, the schedule they have coming up is quite busy for young O'Gorman. He's got the Red Bull rookies as well, and a couple more ETC races, coming up. So they've opted on the safe side, but with broken radius, it would have been very difficult to pull off a big result here today.
Yeah, better to be safe than sorry sometimes and just miss the first race of the season, because, as you said, Chris, he has a busy schedule, as some of the riders will be, well, testing out the long lap penalty loop just in case they are given it throughout the race. Now, we have seen in the past here that the green on the outside of the corners is a happy hunting ground for many of the riders to run their wheels onto the green and pick up some of the penalties. Now, remember, you will get 3 warnings, and if you go over those 3 warnings, you will be given a long lap penalty. So we will have to keep an eye out on that throughout the entirety of not just the European Talent Cup race, but all races here today, all 6 of them.
Yeah, absolutely. If there's a clear advantage taken from going onto the green, you're going to incur the wrath of the race direction and stewards, and you will be given a long lap penalty should you do it too many times. And it should also be mentioned on the last lap too. Should you gain an advantage going onto the green, you will be penalised and you will drop down 1 place.
Yes, it happened to Jose Antonio Rueda here in the Junior GP last year. So we hope that no races are decided with penalties, especially on the last lap.
And here they come, coming all around Parabola, Ayrton Senna, lining up on the grid. They're streaming by the commentary box now. We are only moments away from the green flag being waved here for the opening round of the European Talent Cup in 2023.
Now you can feel the tension building as the riders prepare themselves on the grid for the first racing action of the season. And Estoril, an absolute beautiful circuit under the Portuguese sun. The crowd already in the grandstand. We've got a great crowd here today, very much soaking up the action and of course the sunshine here in Estoril. Guido Pini on the #1 machine, going from 5th place on the grid. He will have his work cut out with Brian Uriarte and of course Hakim Dinish and Rico Salmela, the Monlau team on the front row of the grid. The red lights are about to come on here in Estoril. The revs will be rising, as will the adrenaline, and it's lights out and we're off. Brian Uriarte, great start. Rico Salmela from 3rd place on the grid, dropping back immediately. But the Monlau team, it might be Hakim Danish who's got an even better start. It is the number 13 down towards turn 1. But late on the brakes, Rico Salmela trying to get the up the inside of his teammates. And in 4th spot, that is one of the Finetwork the Finetwork team machines. That will be of Ferrandez, the number 93 of Ferrandez into 4th spot. But it's the Monlau team, and we've got a change of lead almost as Danish looks up the inside of Uriarte for the lead here in Estoril. So it's Danish who leads away ahead of Uriarte and Salmela. That's a great start for the Monlau team.
Yeah, superb start from the front row, all getting off the line well. Danish clearly the best of them as he leads the trio, coming around into the kink at turn 5. We're leading into parabolic interior here. Will anyone get onto the slipstream? Will they try and move up to the left hand here? Here comes one now from Brian Uriarte. Will he make it stick on the inside? He's just not close enough. And the number 7 there of Beñat Fernandez is pushing on between the two Finetwork near racing team bikes. Indeed, it's actually the number 50. My apologies.
Yeah, Rishi Moodley is in 4th spot, ahead of Carter Thompson. So Carter Thompson from 8th place on the grid has a fantastic start, and he's in 5th place already, but there's a gap opening up already on this opening lap with the Monlau team. Some chopping and changing further back. That was Guido Pini was looking up the inside of Ferrandez as the chopping and changing coming through the chicane. You don't want to be too hard on the throttle there to high side yourself over the handlebars, but so far so clear at the moment as the riders round the final corner, the Parabolica, which we've seen so much action throughout the years. And as the Monlau team already open up the gap, there's a big gap back to 4th place.
Yeah, and just looking down the timing screens at Max Quiles, he's starting at the back of the grid. He's already up to P18. He's got to do his long lap penalty coming through now as they come through over the next lap. The Monlau team in control here.
14 laps to go, plenty of racing action here in Estoril. There's a bit of a change further back. That was Alcina up the inside of Pini for 8th spot. So the champion already slipping even further back than what he wanted. But Brian Uriarte all over the back of his young Malaysian teammate and going for a move up the inside into turn number 3, and he's done it late on the brakes from Uriarte. That was absolutely brilliant. They don't want to be holding each other up too much as Uriarte tells Salmela this time to just hold back and follow me, as they're hoping to pull away from the rest of the pack.
Yeah, that's something we see time and time and time again in this class. Someone follow the leader, but it never or rarely comes to fruition. Let's see, will Salmela make a move coming up here? I don't think he's going to be close enough, is he? No, Uriarte will take the lead. A little bit further back, we can see the Finetwork Mir boys slowly making their way through the pack. Where is Guido Pini at the moment? He's in P9. He's a little bit off the pace. But yeah, Monlau in control. It's a Team Estrella Galicia 0-0-1-2 at the moment with Monlau Motuls Hakim Danish in P3.
We just saw Dodo Boggio making a move up the inside of Perez in number 25 for 22nd place. So Boggio's not had a good start. It's not had a start like Quiles has had, who's already up to 14th, but we just saw the notification in the bottom of the screen there that he must serve his long lap penalty. So if he does that within the next couple of laps, he will be okay, but if he doesn't, he will be given a black flag for a disqualification from the race. So he must serve the double long lap penalty. But look at the top 3 of this race. The Monlau Motul team pulling away from the rest of the pack as it's come across the line now. It was 1 second between third and fourth last time round. It's across the line this lap. It is Uriarte, Salmela, Danish, who's dropping back from his teammates ever so slightly, but it's still a gap of 0.8 of a second back to the chasing pack.
Yeah, with 13 laps to go, let's bring you a little update of where everybody is. It's Uriarte leading.
Uriarte just running on the green there, so that'll be a 1 striker on his name there.
Apologies, yeah. Uriarte leading with some... Well, my live timing has disappeared. There we go. Uriarte is P1, Salmela P2, Hakam Danish in P3. Mudley, Thompson, Ferrandez are in the next 3 positions as they will look to try and gain on the leading 3. A 146.464 from David Gonzalez there. That is the quickest lap so far of this race. He's in P11 behind Guido Pini and Giulio Pugliese.
We have someone down. We have a few riders down at the fast kink of turn number 5. I just saw the gravel kick up there. I'm not sure what's happened, but fingers crossed that all riders okay. That's one of the Finetwork mirror machines dropping down.
Ferrandez and Carter Thompson on the way down the timing screens.
Thankfully, we see Carter Thompson walking away, but that is an unfortunate incident there. That is really blowing the second group wide open. We'll have to see if Ferrandez is okay, but we saw Carter Thompson go down as well and walking away, so very unfortunate there. So that leaves Rushi Mudley, the South African, on the number 21 in 4th spot with a big gap behind him to Alcina in 5th. And that's a good sight to see there. Both riders walking away seemingly fairly okay as they both have a little chat about the incident. And here we go, this is a replay. What happens here? Oh, that is Ferrandez who clips the back of Carter Thompson. Carter Thompson very lucky not to be hit with Ferrandez biking. Yeah, a little bit of a high five there, a little bit of a hug and a shake there, and we'll go racing a little bit later on.
I think Thompson has accepted that with quite a bit of grace.
He really has.
A little bit unhappy, but accepted it with grace. They'll get another chance, hopefully, as long as they can get their bikes up and running for race 2 later in the evening. I believe I see Alomar's name falling down the timing screens. We may have another faller, but yet to see a replay. There we go, Pedro Alomar. He's gone. The number 17 has left the circuit and will enter pit lane. Now,
Quiles, there is Alomar just walking away there. But Quiles, watch, he's up to 7th ahead of last year's champion. Amazing from Quiles. He still needs to serve his long lap penalty though, but Quiles is on the charge ahead of Guido Pini, last year's champion, both of our former champions. The 2021 champion of Quiles, Pini, the 2022 champion, and you can see he's already making more moves further back as Quiles. Will he come in to serve his long lap penalty this time? He'll have to do it very soon or he might get disqualified.
Yeah, this is absolutely outstanding ride from the young Spaniard. He's out here with a point to prove. Starting from the back of the grid, not much of a problem for him, is it?
Not at all. Max Quiles, we know how talented he is. He's been a race winner this year in Red Bull Rookies Cup as well. One of the championship favourites over there. And you've got to say, Chris, one of the championship favourites here as the Monlaw team are still chopping and changing. We saw earlier on in the lap, Uriarte retaking the lead into turn at number 3 as Salmela had taken it coming across the line. Very diminutive Rico Salmela is very quick along the straight. A bit of a bobble there coming through turn number 12 for Salmela. That's just opened up a small advantage for Uriarte.
Yeah, they've got a 1.7 second advantage from Danish to Mudley, is what I see on my timing screen. They've really put the effort in. You'd wonder how much of their tyres they have used in the opening laps here to open up that gap. So maybe they're looking at conservation a little bit. And then we'll go into a final lap shootout between the 3 amigos out front at the moment.
It looks very much like Estoril in cycling terms, just using each other, helping each other to pull away from the chasing pack, as you do in cycling as well. So the Mountain Motel team are on fire here today. And it's not just the colour red. They are absolutely brilliant. Pulling away from the very, very lonely Mudley in 4th spot. As we must admit, in Finetwork, their junior team is putting on a brilliant performance ahead of Gonzalez, the Cuna de Campeones team rider, ahead of Pini. And we can probably confirm that Quiles, we haven't seen it on screen, has served the first of his double long lap penalty because he has dropped down to 11th. So he'll serve the second of that this time round, you must think. Side-by-side action coming down the back straight in towards turn number 6, and Danish is now up into 2nd spot ahead of Salmela. You can see Uriarte just gapping them ever so slightly, so maybe he thinks that Salmela doesn't have the pace of Uriarte, and he does, and he feels that he should get onto the back of Uriarte. I thought Salmela was going to make a comeback into turn number 7, but so far it's as you were.
Yeah, the incident between the number 50 and number 93, Carter Thompson and Fernandez, will be investigated after the race, so stay tuned. We'll bring you any updates as that happens in race 2. A special mention here for Rush Mudley. The South African is having a sensational ride. He'd be on for his joint best ETC finish.
Yeah, Rush Mudley is really picking up and going strong in European Talent Cup as of late. You can only imagine that first podium is not too far away for the young South African rider. Further down the field, we've got Guillaume Plonk, one of our other riders who was starting at the back of the grid, as we see that Hamid Al Souti has crashed out of the race as well. But Guillaume Plonk, the French rider who started from the back of the grid, is also in 9th spot. He's just dropped back down behind Pugliese, the Italian from the starting 4th on the grid. But Plonk and Quiles running on track together after Quiles has served, we can imagine, both of his long lap penalties. Dodo Boggio is now finally in the points. He's in 15th spot, so Dodo Boggio hasn't really hit the ground running quite as much as Plonk and Quiles. But Dodo Boggio, we saw last year, very consistent before his run of DNFs towards the end of the season, and shows a lot of fast pace towards the end of the races.
Yeah, disappointment for Al Souti that crashed at turn 9. We'll get a replay of that if we can, but thankfully it's rider okay, and he'll be able to take his place in the race this afternoon. Looking at the front, it's staying the same. Rush Mudley maintains in 4th position, but David Gonzalez is gaining on him. There's only a couple tenths between them at the moment, and it's only a matter of time, I think, before Gonzalez makes his move for 4th.
Well, we saw Gonzalez set the fastest lap of the race earlier on, so we know he has the speed, and he's bridged that gap from the previous group up towards Rush Mudley, who is setting a good pace himself, but he can't stay with the top 3 and he's been sucked back towards the chasing pack. That also includes Guido Pini, Alcina Fernandez, Pugliese and Guillaume Plonk, with Max Quiles just a little bit further back as well, recovering from that double long lap penalty, and of course the back of the grid start. Now towards the front, it seems that Danish and Salmela have closed up the gap towards their teammate Brian Uriarte ever so slightly there. So Brian Uriarte setting a fantastic pace at the front, but Hakim Danish and Rico Salmela, they all look the same as a flash past the commentary box window to complete another lap. 9 laps to go, and the lead is 0.4 of a second towards Salmela and Danish.
And as we look at the front 3 make the move through turn 1, will we see David Gonzalez? No, he just gets that wrong. He was in the slipstream. It looked like he was lining up a move on Rush Mudley, but he just got it wrong on the brakes, turning into the right-hander at turn 1. That gives Mudley the advantage once again.
Guido Pini looking for a move.
But Guido Pini, here he comes.
Oh, great move there from your champion of 2022, the number 1 emblazoned, and with the yellow, day-glow yellow Dainese suit. We've seen that before in the past. Takes 4th spot from Rushi Mudley, so he's now showing good pace. Can he get his head down? Can Guido Pini catch the top 3? It's a big ask with 3.6 seconds, but Guido Pini, we've seen in the past, very consistent, very fast, but Rush Mudley's coming back at him, down the back straight, in towards turn number 6, and he has him on the brakes. So this is a great fight, but both are holding each other up and allowing the pack behind them to close up. But it's almost all changed at the front, as Salmela and Danish have now closed the gap to Brian Uriarte.
Yeah, this battle for 4th is only going to intensify. We see Mudley and Pini going wheel to wheel over this lap, over the last few corners, but there's a pack of hungry riders coming hot on their tail. Pugliese, Alcina, Fernandez and Plonk are all in contention here for a top 4 finish.
And Dodo Boggio is only a couple of seconds off this group as well, so he can find himself in this battle for 4th position towards the end of the race. So don't count out the Asper Junior team rider of Dodo Boggio, who is a couple of places just behind his teammate of Max Quiles.
Yeah, let's keep a special eye on the number 28, Max Quiles. He's currently in P11, having served his long lap penalty and having gone through, having started from the back of the grid. He is up. Alberto Fernandez now on screen, clearly very disappointed. A very disappointing outing. He had a lot of promise this weekend. So far, he'll get another chance, thankfully, in race 2.
Yeah, well, look at the camera there, not looking too happy with the incident, but we hope that, we're glad to see that both riders were okay after that incident, and hopefully both can avoid any penalties, because we want to see them both at the front. Carter Thompson and Fernandez looking brilliant in the opening couple of laps of this race. Now, at the front, it's all closed up once again. It's concertina together, and a bit of a moment there from Uriarte. Not sure what happened there.
Ooh, and he's gone wide.
Yeah, he's gone wide. There was a bit of a bobble going into turn number 4. I wasn't sure if they just let his teammates pass. He might have, having set at such searing pace at the front. Both Salmela and Hakim Danish have been able to follow him, but It's Salmela that now leads the way here. The Finnish rider ahead of Danish on the number 13 machine. And Ryan Uriarte, who was leading this race so brilliantly, is now dropped back into third spot. But you can imagine, they all look over their shoulder. Yes, boys, you've got a 4.3 second lead. I think you're safe and sound at the front. It's just a battle between you three for the top 3 positions on the podium. Yeah,
friendships will be put to one side over the next 8 laps. Imagine this one getting a little bit more intense as we get closer to that checkered flag. As they come through the chicane, all through there, the uphill chicane, left to right, pretty clean, sweeping round now for the right-hander, through the S's, onto the left, and we'll come into the final sweeping Parabolica Ayrton Senna as they close another lap.
This is something we don't usually see in the European Talent Cup, a breakaway between any of the riders. We usually have a group of 10 to 15 riders strong, but this is like classic action here. A group of 3 lead the way as a last pass across the line. It's Danish that takes the lead from Salmela, and Uriarte is looking to retake his lead that he lost a lap of go into turn number 1. Later in the brakes, it's Uriarte, the 51, up the inside of Danish on the number 13 machine. As clean as you like into turn number 1, and the team look on and just praying, hoping that they don't take out each other. Further back, you just saw Rush Moodley and Guido Pini once again at it, hammer and tongs, crossing swords into turn number 1. The number 1 Italian getting pushed out wide as Moodley retakes 4th spot.
We couldn't see it on our screens, but I saw it through the commentary box. The battle for 4th, saw 3 riders abreast going into turn 1.
That's what you
and
like
that has pushed Guido Pini back down to 6th behind his teammate Giulio Pugliese, with Rush Moodley still in control of that 4th position.
Now Pugliese, he's brought himself back into contention. He was just outside the top 10 only a couple of laps ago. So Pugliese, the number 31 rider on the AC racing machine, along with Guido Pini, well and truly in the mix. And Pugliese is looking for his best result in European Talent Cup, his best so far as well. He's only competed in 5 races as of last year and has only scored 2 points in the championship so far. So as long as he finishes inside the top 13, he's definitely well and truly on for his best results so far.
Yeah, that's absolutely super ride from him. To get up into the 2nd row as well from qualifying, he's shown a lot of promise. Now, here we go. What are we looking at here? 3 abreast as they come down into the corner. An exchange of lead, the number 13 of Hakim Danish running onto the sides. And I tell you what, we took a spin around the circuit yesterday, and it is not smooth running when you're up there.
No, the rumble strips on the outside of the corners are very bumpy indeed, especially coming out of turn number 2. I took a ride out there yesterday, and must admit I need to see my local dentist for some fillings after yesterday, because they are very bumpy on the outside of turn number 2. As Rico Salmela now takes the 2nd spot from Hakim Danish, slots in behind Brian Uriarte. Now these 3, you can just feel, are just biding their time, swapping position, eyeing each other up, seeing where the other ones are strong. But it seems to be Brian Uriarte that seems to be leading comfortably at the front for now.
Yeah, they've opened up a near 6-second gap over people battling for 4th. That's Rush Moodley and Fernandez Pini, and there's Gonzalez has just pushed himself up into P5 as we look at the timing screens. But the top 3 are pretty comfortable at the minute. P4, we see Rush Moodley. David Gonzalez is now in 5th with Pini in 6th. Fernandez in 7th. Max Quiles, he is in 8th position, only 2/10 behind the man ahead of him. Pugliese in 9th, and Pau Alsina rounds out the current top 10.
After his great start from the back of the grid and serving his long lap penalties, I must admit, I did think Max Quiles would already be at the front of that chasing pack, but maybe he's just saving his tyres. We know Max Quiles, who was a former champion of the European Talent Cup, is a very wise, cool head on such young shoulders on the number 28 machine. He might just be saving his tyres after pushing so hard early on to mount a challenge for 4th in the closing stages of the race. But you must admit, Rush Moodley is doing very well, who's just fallen behind David Gonzalez on the number 11 Cuna de Campiones machine further back, 6 seconds behind your race leaders, but he's really holding his own in the top 5 positions for now.
Yeah, it's an absolutely super ride from the South African. Special mention too, we're giving a lot of credit to Max Quiles, but Dodo Baggio and Gilles Planck have also come from the back of the grid to get themselves into strong point scoring finishes as another lap is ticked off by the leading 3.
Now you could just feel that Rico Salmela on the 27 machine as Uriarte gets a little bit out of control on the brakes into turn number 1. You just feel that that Salmela, the Finnish rider, very, very small rider, has got a lot of speed along the straight, is just holding back ever so slightly, not really showing his hands just yet. as he doesn't really want to give Brian Uriarte any inkling that he's strong on going down towards turn number 1.
And I thought Gonzalez was going to make a move
Oh,
there, and he does.
Wow,
Wow, he got it back up the inside. Guido Pini, can he sneak on through now, coming into the left-hander? Not quite, but it is a guy. Oh, maybe he can, maybe he can. He's got a tight line here, and he's now pushed by Rush Mudley. That is an excellent overtake, as a gaggle of riders now are involved in this battle for 4th position.
This is a fantastic battle for 4th place. There's, what, 7 riders in this group right now. Max Keeles 4 abreast coming down towards turn number 6. And Max Keeles from 8th to 4th, as fast as you like, as Guido Pini stays in 5th spot, but he's lost a place to Max Keeles and also gained a place from Gonzalez as well. So it's all action for 4th spot. And this group goes all the way down to 11th. That is Pugliese in 11th. So the other AC Racing rider. And just off the back of them, you'll see the Dayglow yellow helmet of the 47, the Aspar Junior rider, Dodo Boggio, who also came from the back of the grid. He is now starting to catch this group.
Yeah, all this chopping and changing is playing right into Boggio's hands. He's coming back now from a back of the grid start. He's currently in P12, but surely he's eyeing up a little bit more. What an overtake that was from Max Keeles. What a race he is having. He is now 4th, having started at the back of the grid and served a long lap penalty.
Insane stuff from Max Keeles, the champion of 2021, and the top 3 are still staying line astern in towards turn number 1. Uriarte, Salmela, Danish, any one of those 3 will be your race winners, barring any incident between the 3 as well. But they've been a class above the rest of the pack, including Max Keeles in that as well. So all action throughout the field. Just give you an update on the rest of the top 15. Outside Pugliese in 11th and Dodo Boggio in 12th is Donoso in 13th, Lawrence Luciano in 14th, and also Ligiori, the number 72 rider, in 15th, holding that final point at the moment. But do we have a move coming from Hakim Danish, who's got a great run through turn number 5, 3 abreast down towards turn number 6. We remember this corner between Pedrosa and Hayden in 2006. And round the outside, you don't do that, especially to your teammate. Hakim Danish hanging all out around the outside, but can't quite make it stick, as Salmela still stays in 2nd place.
Yeah, with 4 laps remaining, 3.5 now at this stage, it's going to heat up here in this victory battle. As we said, friendships are going to be placed to one side, and friends become foes when advisors come down. Victory battle here, the honours for the opening race of the season.
That's something poetic there, Chris. Very much so. The top 3 riders will be put to the test here. Friendships will be tested, as you say. And these 3 riders are very good friends, as are a lot of the riders within the European Talent Cup paddock. They get on very well. You can see them messing around together on scooters and bikes as they go around the paddock, and also when they're out on the track later on at night as well. Just getting an eye in of where they might be stronger on track. And Hakim Danish pulls out of the slipstream of Brian Uriarte and Salmela. Hakim Danish, the number 13, will come back into shot any second now. Will he be taking the lead later on the brakes? No, but he slots back into 2nd ahead of Salmela. Brian Uriarte is incredibly late on the brakes, pushing the front tyres. We've seen a couple of times throughout the last few laps, really pushing the front and having a bit of a bobble on the brakes into turn number 1.
Uriarte is doing a fantastic job of leading this race. It's not often, particularly in this class, that you want to be leading coming out of the last corner. It's nearly 1 kilometre in length, the straight in Estoril. So slipstream is crucial, but the job he is doing on the brakes is phenomenal to hold off the Monlau and Team Estrella Galicia teammates.
Now, I'm starting to wonder, now that you've mentioned that, Chris, if maybe Salmela and Hakim Danish are trying to get themselves into 2nd spot to try and launch an attack on Uriarte coming out of the final corner, because we have seen in the past on so many occasions through every single championship, the races here, it's Slipstream City coming out the final corner with the finish line a long way down the pit straight. Sometimes it's a lot closer, but here at Estoril, the finish line is really very far down the pit straight. So you can imagine whoever's leading coming out of the final corner, it will be all change there. And 2.5 laps to go. These 3 riders are just edging even further away. The gap is now 7.5 seconds back to Max Keeles, who's still got Guido Pini, Gonzalez, Mudley, Alcina, Blanc, and Pugliese all over his back wheel.
Yeah, Rush Mudley has suffered a little bit in recent laps, and he suffered to former champions and reigning champions as both Keeles and Pini have pushed through. David Gonzalez still holds the fastest lap from the 2nd lap. His 146.464 still hasn't been bettered, but he's showing great pace and he's still in P6.
As the top three flash past the commentary box window, it is Salmela that's back into second position behind Uriarte. Once again holds the lead, and then we've got this dogfight further back, and that's Gonzalez up the inside of Pini late on the brakes. I thought they were about to touch there. We've got one of the riders going very wide. That is the number 28, the number 78 of, well, one of the AC riders, so couldn't quite catch that there on our screen who it was. It went very wide, but we've gotten retaliating back, and that was Guillaume Plonk that was late on the brakes into turn number 3. So as the battle for victory heats up, so does the positions from 4th all the way down to 11th.
Yeah, with all that chopping and changing, Dodo Baggio has taken half a second out of the group ahead of him. He's still in P12, but he is gaining fast.
Here comes the group of 7, 8, 9 riders down towards turn number 6. Guido Pini late in the brakes, but doesn't quite go late enough, and it's still David Gonzalez, the number 11 on the Cuna de Campeones machine that holds 5th spot behind the brilliant Mats Quiles on the Aspar Junior team bike, who is still in 4th position, but you can imagine this is all going to change with a lap and a half to go.
And a track limit warning for rider number 33, Ballon, but he is back in P18. He's got to keep it clean if he has any hopes of finishing within the points, having come through the last chance race earlier today.
Well, then you mentioned Ballon got track limits warning. He did drop a couple of positions behind Brinton, Roman and Aguilar, but he's also just regained one of his positions back again, so Ballon having a tough day. But as the top 3 come across the line, Hakim Danish has dropped back a little bit. One more lap to go. Salmela takes the lead from Uriarte. As the team saying to the riders as they start the final lap of the race. Late on the brakes, who's it going to be? Salmela, Uriarte can't use that great braking to effect coming down to turn number 1, but Hakim Danish, he's already back with them. Hakim Danish, was he just keeping his powder dry and letting these two scrap it out at the front? But we're seeing Uriarte late on the brakes into turn number 3, but it's Danish this time. Danish looks up the inside of Uriarte but can't make it stick. It's as you were, Salmela from Uriarte and Danish on this last lap.
Fire in the belly, ice in the mind is the message from the box as the 3 go head-to-head for victory in the opening race of the season. Only a few corners left. I wonder if Salmela has made his move just a lap too early, getting into the slipstream of Uriarte. Let's see, it's given Uriarte the chance now to do the exact same and pay back on the final lap of the race.
Danish does it. Danish overtakes both of them into turn number 6. Wow, what an incredible move from the number 13. I thought he might be keeping his powder dry. He has done, but he's ran a little bit wide. Can Salmela get the lead back? He can. And it's Hakim Danish who's dropped back to 3rd, but late on the brakes, who is it going to be? Uriarte round the outside, makes Danish set up and take stock of the action.
Only 5 corners left now as they come through number 8, back on the uphill ascension again, through the chicane coming up next. Keeping it clean, it's all about getting in. I think they're all going to line up a move, a parabolic Ayrton Senna, the long sweeping right-hander, get into the slipstream and edge over the line in 1st place. But will they get close enough to Salmela? He seems to put up a little bit of a gap.
Salmela's got it for now, but remember Slipstream City, Hakim Danish, he's climbing all over the back of Brian Uriarte. The top 3 come out of the final corner. Uriarte setting up, across the line he comes. Salmela looking for his first ever race win, but it's Uriarte who slipstreams across the line, and here comes Danish. Oh, that was as close as you like, photo finish, but it's Uriarte from Salmela and Danish in 3rd place, and the rest come across the line, and it's Quiles from the back of the grid ahead of Moodley, Pugliese, Gonzalez in 7th, Guido Pini, last year's champion, in 8th, Alcina in 9th, and Fernandez rounding out the top 10. But wow, what a race from Brian Uriarte. He timed that to absolute perfection.
What a race, what a last lap. We thought Salmela made his move a little too early. Uriarte timed it to perfection. 300ths of a second separated 1st and 2nd. 500ths of a second between the top 3. Incredible stuff. Uriarte led the race for the majority, showed his class, kept it calm once he fell behind on the last lap and timed it to perfection to win by a hair's breadth.
Yeah, that's what we love to see in European Talent Cup. What a way to start the season. Rico Salmela will be a little bit upset to have missed out on his first win in European Talent Cup, but it will come someday, and he was so close, backing up his 2nd place from here last year. Hakim Danish, we thought that at one point of that race, with half a lap to go, that he timed it to perfection, and Danish almost snatched 2nd place away from the line. The team congratulated each other, the team Australia Galicia and Monlai Motor Motul team, well, they're very pleased with that one. What a finish it was to the race. And further back, special mention to Max Keeles from the back of the grid to all the way up to 4th spot, and of course serving the long lap penalties out of Rush Moodley and Pugliese. His best result in the European Talent Cup as well. He has bagged 10 important points there, and he will be mightily happy with that as well. Just outside the top 10 was Dodo Boggio, who also came from the back of the grid. He almost got himself into the top 10 ahead of Game Plonk, Donoso, Luciano Torres, and Ligiori as well, who rounds out the top 15 and 16 riders. Boggio is looking at Uriarte to congratulate him. A little bit of a fist bump there as Uriarte, he knows that was a very, very important set of events and very important victory for the season. As he comes back into Parc Fermé, his team congratulate him. Rico Salmela just behind him, and what a scene that is. Down in Parc Fermé, the team congratulate Brian Uriarte, who picks up his 4th win in the European Talent Cup. Rico Salmela, a little bit subdued, but he'll know that was a very, very close and very well fought 2nd place. And well, he's got another race later on today to try and rectify that and take his 1st win in the European Talent Cup. Hakim Danish as well. Well, he put up a great battle as well. Maybe just was a little bit over enthusiastic in the last few corners there. Made a bit of a mistake as soon as he took the lead into turn number 6. Ran a bit wide, and both Salmela and Uriarte were there to retake the 1st and 2nd position away from the young Malaysian there. Hugs all round for Rico Salmela. Yes, the team know that this is one young talent, the young Finnish rider as well. And he will be one to watch for the future indeed. Congratulations all round for the top 3 riders. We will have an interview with our race winner, Brian Uriarte, in just a few minutes' time, and we'll find out the latest of how he won that race from Rico Salmela and Hakim Danish. Just weighing themselves on the scales, just to make sure that they're above the minimum weight of combined rider and bike machine. And if all is okay, they will be able to keep their podium positions. We are sure it will happen, and we've not had anything flash up to tell us that there was any track infringements on final lap, so it seems that the top 3 are as it is. And look at this, they're coming down towards turn number 1 after the line. That is a great photo finish from 3 very identical machines, and Brian Uriarte is race 1 winner here in Estoril, and he knows it was a big one. Hugs with Rico Salmela, his young Finnish teammate as well, and just showing the replays of these great scenes down in Parc Fermé with the team as well. And that's what it's all about here in JuniorGP. It's not just about the bike, it's not just about the machine, but it's also the hard work of all the mechanics, all the engineers and the team and personnel behind the scenes that you don't see, putting all the effort in to get these riders to the very, very top of European Talent Cup. As the pictures are taken, it's a big result for the team there, as all 3 riders look very, very happy with their positions in the race. Some will be a little bit disappointed in comparison to maybe Brian Uriarte, but we know it's a long season ahead, and these 3 are some of the biggest talents across the entire championship. And with Max Keeles as well in the Asper Junior team, he will be 100%, we have no doubt, fighting at the front later on today when he won't have to start from the back of the grid. And his 4th place will just give him extra confidence that he can produce any ride he possibly can from the very back. Rush Moodley as well. He was a little bit detached from the opening group after the crash between Ferrandez and Carter Thompson. Thankfully, those 2 both seemed to be okay, and we saw them walking away from the accident. So hopefully we'll have them back out for race number 2. Guido Pino will be a little bit upset with his 8th place, but race number 2, you can 100% know that he'll be in the action. But we head over to Parc Fermé now, as Chris is down there with your race winner, Brian Uriarte.
Yeah, thanks very much, Liam. I'm here with the European Talent Cup race winner, in Estoril from race 1. Brian Uriarte. Brian, you timed that to perfection. How are you feeling after that?
Well, I'm feeling really good. I was pushing all the time in the front. I made a save in the turn 5, but well, I didn't crash, luckily. But well, I made an amazing race, and I want to thank my family. Today, the Mother's Day, I want to say hi to my mom, to my brother, and I think Hugo Millán, that is in the sky, is supporting me. So thanks to my team, my sponsors, everyone that could make this happen. So thanks.
A very touching and emotional victory for you. Ahora tenemos que hablar en castellano. Cuéntame sobre tu día y cómo te sientes.
Bueno, me siento muy bien. La moto ha ido perfecta. El equipo ha hecho un gran trabajo. 3 pilotos hemos lado en el podio, me estoy muy contento y bueno, quiero dar las gracias a mi familia, en especial a mi madre, que es el Día de la Madre, a mi hermano y a Hugo, que estará en el cielo ayudándonos desde donde sea. Y bueno, gracias a mi equipo, a mis sponsors y a todos.
Enhorabuena.
A very touching tribute to Hugo Millán and also Mother's Day, and to all mothers out there, happy Mother's Day as well. And we get to look back at the incredible race 1 that we just had for the European Talent Cup. It was Brian Uriarte, Rico Salmela and Hakim Danish that got out front right from the off, but it was further back. You had Rishi Moodley in 4th spot. Before this accident between Ferrandez and Carter Thompson put them out of the race. Handshakes all round, and thankfully both walked away as well. Brian Uriarte tried to open up a bit of a lead in front of Salmela and Hakim Danish, but they quickly soon closed him down. Further back, it was Gonzalez that almost tapped the rear of Moodley and ran off track as well. But as the final laps came to a close, there was a mistake there from Brian Uriarte, who lost the front and thankfully managed to save it before retaliating on Hakim Danish a couple of laps later. Further back, the battle for 4th raged on, and Gonzalez went up the inside of Rishi Moodley, and it was Guido Pini, your last year's champion, that found his way towards the front. But it was the front where all the eyes were glued to the action. Danish going round the outside of Salmela, but couldn't make it stick with only a couple of laps to go. But then Uriarte tried to put the coal into the fire and try and get away, but it was Salmela and Danish that just held station from there. As it came across the line, Salmela took the lead with 1 lap to go. The team were looking on and just telling the riders to stay calm and think as well. A couple of quarters ago, it was a slipstream to the line. It was Uriarte who took the race win ahead of Salmela and Hakim Danish, just missing out on victory as well. All 3 riders were congratulating each other, very happy with the result, and Max Quiles further back, taking 4th spot from the back of the grid ahead of Rishi Moodley as well. Brian Uriarte, congratulations all round from his team. Came back into park for me. You can tell how happy the team were with that one. Brian Uriarte, your race 1 winner ahead of Rico Salmela and the Malaysian Hakim Danish. And Chris, he sounded incredibly happy down there, did Brian Uriarte?
Yeah, thrilled. Really, really thrilled. An absolutely super ride from the young Spaniard. Up on top of the podium now, but to be honest, all 3 of them were really, really excellent in this race. Hakim Danish, he gave it a really good effort towards the end, while Rico Salmela just couldn't hold on, 300th of a second. It's so close. But look at Brian Uriarte, soak up the celebrations, they're very well deserved.
Yeah, he's a very popular young man, is Brian Uriarte, as he will be receiving his race winners trophy very soon, as well as the first Vice President of the FIM hands out the team members trophy, and that is a trophy that you can imagine the many, many times they will receive this year, with Uriarte and Salmela within the team. Hakim Danish takes 3rd spot. He's very happy with that. The young Malaysian taking a brilliant, brilliant start to his season in 2023, as we have Vice President of the FIM Europe, Marc Jean, handing over the trophy to Salmela, who'll be a little bit upset with not taking the win, but he was oh so close, and he's got race number 2 coming up today. But your race winner, who'll be holding that trophy aloft, will be Brian Uriarte, the number 51. He is your race winner, race number 1 of the European Talent Cup. Spanish national anthem rains out across the Estoril circuit, and the cheers from the crowd as well. They know a good race when they see one, and that was a great race by the top three. Brian Uriarte is your race one winner, Rico Salmela in second, and Hakim Danish in third spot. As they pose for the photos, we will see them in action a little bit later on today at 2 p.m. for race number 2.
So these are the final results. Uriarte, your race winner. Rico Salmela, Hakim Danish completing podium. Quiles, what a ride from the back of the grid for 4th. Rush Mudley's in P5. Giulio Pugliese, another excellent ride for him on a promising weekend. David Gonzalez, Guido Pini and Pau Alsina are 7th, 8th and 9th respectively. Beñat Fernandez then in P10. Dodo Baggio, he got P11 in the end with Guillaume Planck, 2 riders who started at the back of the grid alongside Quiles. Donoso, Lorenz Luciano, Jesus Torres, Eduardo Liguri, Gonzalo Perez, all coming in next. And finishing out the finishers, Luca Agostinelli, Emmanuel Brinton, Matteo Roman, Enzo Ballon, Marc Aguilar, Owen Van Thriet, Eduardo Botola, Benjamin Caille. They finished outside the points, but they'll get another chance at it later on this afternoon. While Vasilis Panteliakis comes home 26th.
And your championship standings look exactly how the race 1 results do, with Brian Uriarte on 25 points ahead of Rico Salmela, Hakim Danish, Maximo Quiles and Rush Mudley running at your top 5 ahead of Pugliese, David Gonzalez in 7th, Guido Pini, last year's champion, in 8th, and Pau Alsina in 9th position. And your top 10 is Fernandez in 10th spot ahead of Dodo Baggio, who came from the back of the grid. He's on 5 points ahead of Guillaume Planck and Donoso, with the runners and riders staying the same as the race 1 results. The top 3 from the race: 51, Brian Uriarte; 27, Rico Salmela; and the number 13 of Hakim Danish will battle it out once again at 2 p.m. for European Talent Cup race number 2. You don't want to miss the action from that, as it will be an absolute cracker from the top 3 and the rest of the grid coming up at 2 p.m.